Yesterday morning, I wasn't sure what to create content on because it's been quite a quiet week. It's been that quiet, even the transfer rumours have given up. In fact, the biggest transfer rumour this week has been that next week we will do something. So, as a result of that, I decided to see it out. I thought hopefully something juicy will land in my lap during the day. A new transfer rumour, a bit of news, something I can get stuck into. But neither of those things occurred. And because of that, it got me thinking about next season, what I'm looking forward to, what I'm hoping to see from Lopetegui, because I'm quite excited for next season already, actually. And then last night, hang on a minute, this is the video, this is what your thought process is, so just discuss it. So it's a bit of an opinion video today. There's no news, there's no transfer rumours, it's just Gio's thoughts ahead of pre-season and next season. Because we take on Aston Villa in a month's time. The new season kicks off in just a month. It's crept up on us a little bit, I think, because of the Euros and Copa America, and there's still one game left to go in each competition as well. But on Monday, we have our first friendly, and I'm quite looking forward to it. Obviously, the game against Villa is where the business gets started. That's the main course. But, as you can tell, I'm a man that likes all three courses, and pre-season is very much the starter. So, soup of the day, your halloumi, fries and chili dip, chicken, goujons. Those are just a few things I like as a starter when I go out for a meal. That's what we're in. We're in this period now, because the players have been in Austria for a week and got our first friendly on Monday, and I'm looking forward to it. You can only read so much into pre-season and friendlies, but I always think they're indicators. The tactics, you might get a little bit of a clue as to what formation Lopetegui's intending on playing, the style that we're intending on playing, because he will very much be wanting to put his blueprint down pretty quickly and seeing who can work with his tactics and whatnot. And I think a few of the players involved in pre-season today maybe have greater motivation over those who aren't involved. Because the players who have been or still are on international duty, like Areola, Bowen, Antonio, Soufal, Souček, they're still absent from the squad. So I think as a result of that, it gives an opportunity to those who perhaps weren't involved too much under David Moyes, such as Flynn Downs and Danny Ings. But we'll get on to this. I wanted to discuss pre-season. If you're new around here, please do subscribe. Also drop a like on the video if you enjoy it as well by clicking thumbs up. Both things are free, takes a few seconds and helps out the channel. Approximately 1/3 of you are not subscribed to the channel. So if all you who were to subscribe today, that would go over 39,000. That would be a good pre-season for Hammers Chat, wouldn't it? Anyway, the club have very much been on the charm offensive with Lopetegui. We're even getting introduced to his assistant manager now. Even he's getting interviewed about who he is and why Lopetegui is a fantastic head coach at West Ham. And do you know what? I don't blame them. And it's kind of working on me. Not so much Gonzo. He's loving everything at the minute. Lopetegui could put out cones and Gonzo would get excited about how he put out the cones, the colour of the cones he's chosen, the distance between the cones and how it would encourage better dribbling from the players. He's reading everything and anything into the footage. But you know what? I quite like it. I think he's gone too far. But it's because he's positive and he's excited. And I think that's a good thing. And I'm feeling positive and excited. Perhaps just not that much. But this whole charm offensive by the club, it's worked on me as well. Because if we go back a month ago, so we knew Moyes was off skiing. We didn't know who was coming in. Lopetegui was the main candidate. I'll be honest, I wasn't keen. He wasn't my number one. He wasn't my number 5 choice. He would have been some way down the list. Obviously, further ahead than some, just not as high as others. So I was a little bit lukewarm regarding the appointment. But since then, I've really warmed to him and I've got feeling more positive, and I've almost convinced myself actually this is maybe the right appointment. And it's not necessarily me that's convinced myself, it's reading what the players have been saying, what he's been saying, what other people that know Lopetegui have been saying. I've been absorbing as much content as I can to some extent, not the extent of Gonzo, but to some extent, and it's worked. I've really warmed to him and I'm really rooting for him, and I just assume everybody is. Even if Lopetegui was at the bottom of your list, I just assume that every West Ham fan wants him to succeed. I think that's a fair assumption as well. But I'm looking forward to it now. I really am, because I'm intrigued as to what his intentions are in terms of formation, in terms of tactics, and I think on Monday we might get our first indication. Kilman's obviously spoken about it when he arrived. However, he's a bit biased because he's worked under Lopetegui previously. But Kudus has said about when he's spoken to him once or twice and he wants to play attacking football. It's something Kilman said. Almost every player that has done some form of interview over the last couple of weeks have all referred to how Lopetegui wants to play attacking football. And he himself has said he wants to. However, we can't always do it. Sometimes it's going to have to be counter-attacking football. And I think that's a good thing, because you have to adapt depending on who you play. Ange Postecoglou does not. He has one formation and one way of playing. Well, various formations, but one way of playing. Aggressive, attacking, high pressing. And for maybe 80% of games, it's the right way of going about it and it will work. But there's that 20% where he just does it anyway. Is it admirable or is it bad management? I would argue it's a bit of both. We've all seen games with Spurs last season where their defence was getting ripped apart because they were so high up the pitch, but he just kept on doing it because that's what he believed in. And I think at times, if you're not Man City, you need to adapt a bit. So when Lopetegui says some games we're going to have to play differently to others, good. That's what I want to hear. Because there's been times, and I don't want to make this a Lopetegui versus David Moyes thing. I've referred to David Moyes very little this summer on purpose because it's done. It's done. He's left now, and I think he had a good tenure here, and I think we've progressed a lot as a club under David Moyes. But the baton's now passed to Lopetegui, so it's sort of focusing on him and what he's going to do rather than what Moyes has done. But there was times last season where I felt that we would play the same tactics regardless of opponent, that we could go away to Liverpool one week, home to Sheffield United the following, and be a similar team, similar tactics, similar style. And I'm not sure about this. So I'm hoping for a little bit of adaptability in different tactics. And there's one thing I absolutely love about watching Aston Villa last season with Unai Emery, where they do play differently every single game. It's sort of the tactics are set up to counter the strengths of the opposition, but also prey on the weakness of the opposition. I've been fascinated by the way Aston Villa were playing over the last 12 months, and I genuinely enjoyed looking forward to watching them play as a neutral. And I'm looking forward to watching what West Ham's Lopetegui looks like, and I'm hoping we can get our first clue on Monday. Now, obviously, the squad is a little bit slim at the minute. There's good numbers out there and a lot of youth players involved, but there's a few players missing because of international duty. So those who have been on, or still are, in the case of Jared Bowen. So we're missing Jared Bowen, we're missing Michail Antonio, Thomas Souček, Vladimir Coufal, Edson Alvarez, he's injured anyway, Alphonse Areola. I don't think I've missed anyone else, but that's still 6 first-team players missing from this group. But what that does, and to be fair, I don't think they necessarily need to be there. I think those are possibly the 6 players that actually, they'll be alright under the new manager. They don't necessarily need pre-season with him. But it gives an opportunity for others. And it's those I'm looking forward to on Monday, seeing what they can do and what they can offer. Because Danny Ings has obviously quite publicly turned down a move to Southampton. And I don't think you can accuse it of being financially motivated. Had the news about West Ham subsidising his wages not come out, I think there might have been an element of, oh yeah, we know why you want to stay at West Ham, Danny. It's because you're on decent wages, you don't want to take a pay cut, we get it. But the fact that he would have been on the same wages at Southampton and he still rejected the move would suggest that A, he's just happy at West Ham, but B, he just thinks he's got a crack under Lopetegui and he's looking forward to impressing the new head coach. And I'm going to be honest with you, I love that attitude. Do I think he'll do it? Maybe. I hope he does. I really do. But I love the attitude. If he's turned down a move to Southampton, it would have been an easy move for him to say, no, actually, I don't want the easy route out of West Ham. I want to stay here. I'm going to fight for my shirt. And I'm going to show what I can do. Because many times he's referred to almost been a failure of signing himself. He's suggested that it's not worked out for him yet. So he's very well aware that he hasn't lived up to his price tag, his wages, what he can offer at West Ham. And I'm hoping that players like him can get a second chance under Lopetegui and make it work. So Danny Ings is someone I'm looking forward to because she'll surely get a decent amount of minutes on Monday because he's the only striker. We might have taken a couple of youngsters. I'd assume Callum Marshall is in Austria as well, so he'll no doubt get some minutes. But I'd be surprised if Danny Ings doesn't start up front on Monday. And it's like, there you go. Now you've got an opportunity. You've got a few weeks till Michail Antonio rocks up. Show Lopetegui what you can do, and you might earn a place in the squad next season. Because clearly, if we accepted a bid from Southampton, we're not against moving him on. Apparently, we even offered him as a make-weight for signing Max Kilman. As a player, that can't feel good. If you know your current club is offering you out in part exchange deals, it can't be the best feeling in the world. It's almost he possibly feels like everything's against him. But I've seen footage and photos of him and Lopetegui smiling with their arms around each other and stuff like that. He's had a bit of a cuddle from Lopetegui. I like it. I'm looking forward to it. Maxwel Cornet is another player who it hasn't worked out for him at West Ham. And like I said, I don't want to go into the specifics as to why. Otherwise, I'll just sit here for the whole video going, it's because of David Moyes, because there's no... It's done. It's done now. I have a thing in life, generally, as much as I can. And it's a lot of rubbish, but I like it and I stick to it. But when something happens, I always say, you got one eye looking backwards, it means you ain't got two eyes looking forwards, and that's wrong. You should always be looking ahead and what you can do. How that's happened, how do you go about it? How do you fix it? How do you make it better? And that's where I am with West Ham this summer in regards to these players. Cornet, it's not been good, but how can we make it better? How can we get the best out of Cornet? Because I think it's fair to suggest, now I don't think this is the case. I think match day 1, I think we'll see Kudus on the left hand side. I do. I think Bowen will be on the right, Kudus will be on the left, possibly a new striker, if not Antonio, and Paqueta will be in the sort of central area of the pitch. If everybody's fit and available, that is. But let's just say Kudus isn't there. We've got a vacancy out on that left hand side. It's been, again, widely recognised that we're looking for somebody out there. We've been linked to a few, but yet to make a bid. Jota Silva, Philogene. There's been a few left wingers that we've been linked to but not bid for, which is fine because striker, right back is priority. I get it. Makes sense. But it provides an opportunity. So there's now a possible vacancy in the starting 11. So Cornet, Guilherme, it's up for grabs. That shirt is up for grabs. Let's see what you've got in pre-season and go get it. I still think, I've always thought there's a damn good player in Maxwel Cornet. I do. I thought he was brilliant at Burnley. My only concern was his attitude when not 100% fit. And this wasn't a David Moyes thing. This was pre-David Moyes. This was at Burnley as well. If he wasn't 100% fit, he didn't want to play Cornet. It was, again, well known at Burnley. But I thought he was a fantastic player, and I thought 17.5 million was a good fee for him. I thought you were getting almost like a proven goal scorer in the Premier League and score goals at Burnley pre-Vincent Kompany, Sean Dyche era. That's not easy to do. So I was pleased when we signed him. Hasn't worked out. Looking forward to seeing if he can turn it around at West Ham. Then we move on to Guilherme, the new signings. We sort of know what we're getting from Max Kilman. It's not too exciting, is it, when you sign a player that you know what he's going to contribute? He'll do well on Monday and we'll all go, yeah, we expected that. Forderingham in goal. Yeah, whatever. Guilherme is the one new signing. Actually, I'm looking forward to saying, right, let's see what this guy's about. Because I'd never heard of him. Until we signed him, we'd never heard. I know a lot of yous had, and you knew he was sort of one of the next big things coming out of Brazil. Alright, show off. But some of us hadn't heard of him, right? And I'm one of them. Never heard of him. Still don't really know much about him, truth be told. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he can produce, and I'm hoping he gets a lot of minutes. Then we move into the centre of the pitch. Edson Alvarez injured. Flynn Downs possibly expected to have joined Southampton. Hasn't. And again, you do wonder if maybe he's thought, nah, hang on a minute, there's a chance here. The guy in my position's injured. I'm going to show this manager what I've got. So that come Aston Villa, it's a case of good luck dropping me, because I've done it all pre-season. I've put in big performances. And the difference with Downs and Ings is Antonio will return at some point, and as will Alvarez. But because of his injury, he still might not make it for the Aston Villa game. So there might be a realistic shout that Flynn Downs can get a starting spot for that Aston Villa game. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Freddie Potts, looking forward to it. And Andy Irving, strangest transfer we've done for a little while. But he's popping up in all these pre-season photos and videos. I know somebody that's related to him, or I know of someone that's related to him, and his words were, baller. That's how he described Andy Irving. Not my words, his words were he's very hard working and a baller. He's basically said you've got a real good player in your hands, and I don't think you realise how good he is. Now obviously he's biased. I'm taking that with a pinch of salt. But I'm intrigued. I hope he gets a shot. I hope he gets a crack. My expectations for Andy Irving is low. I'd be surprised if he was here when the transfer window closes. Right, that's my expectations. My expectation for Guilherme quite high. Has to be said. We're going to commit to spending 20 million on a Brazilian with all this hype. I'm expecting good things from him. I'll give him a settling in period, but you get my point. So Andy Irving, it's like he could very quickly turn into a meme, and I hope that doesn't happen. So, but Monday, let's see what you got. In regards to the defence, there's not really much there, is there? Emerson and Creswell are there, the centre backs are there, but we've got no right backs. So I say I'm intrigued as to what he'll do. I'm not really, because it won't matter. If he plays Mavropanos right back, it doesn't mean he's going to be starting against Villa at right back, or I don't know, Ryan Batram's in Austria. If he starts there, it doesn't really mean too much. But I'm looking forward to it. I think there's an opportunity for a lot of these players redeeming themselves and getting a second crack at West Ham under Lopetegui. The new signings are here now as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we play. I'm feeling positive about the new season. Like I said, I've really warmed to Lopetegui, and then we start playing some nice things during pre-season. I remember speaking to one of the Daves, the Wolves fan, and he said in the pre-season, prior to obviously Lopetegui walking out, one thing he felt he noticed a lot was the wide players getting down to the byline in the 18-yarder, then cutting it back into the box for your attacking fielder or your striker. I've always remembered that. I thought, right, okay, let's see if that's something that we try and incorporate into our pre-season patterns of play, set pieces. I'm interested by all this stuff. Like I said, you can't read too much into it. A lot of the players will be playing with 70% tempo. But I think a lot of them will be giving it 100% as well. There's a big difference. Kudus has got nothing to prove. Kudus doesn't need to give 100%, and I don't want him to. Don't get injured. But those that have maybe got something to prove, that are possibly on the up for sale list to some extent, I'm expecting them to give a little bit more than perhaps their other teammates. I expect Downs to give a bit more than James Ward-Prowse, for example. Maybe that's unfair, but I've always had this rule of thumb. If you've been here last summer or the summer before, you know that's my rule of thumb. That the ones that are guaranteed game time under the new manager tend to be a bit calmer in pre-season. I think that's the right way. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for the new season. I don't know if it's just because lack of West Ham for the last month. Obviously, Scotland going out meant the Euros is over pretty quickly for me. Maybe it's because I was, fed up by the end of last season because of the manager debate, the football we were playing. I just wanted it to come to an end. Now I'm looking forward to the new season because it's been a while since we've had this. Moyes was here for 4.5 years. That's a long time. That's a very large period for a Premier League manager. So since we've been doing Hamish Chat as a job, we've only ever had David Moyes as manager. We've only ever had European football. And I think this preparation leads us into next season because I'm hoping we can take advantage of no European football. Moyes only ever had one season. I know I said I wouldn't talk about him, but Moyes only ever had one full season without European football. And I think that's a fair and important context here. One season. And we finished 6th. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what Lopetegui has to achieve. No. My measurements of Lopetegui next season aren't just league position. There's a lot more to it than that, because I always say success is measured in more than just one way. Man City, success is, did you win the title? You have to win the title. You're Man City, you have to win the title. But other clubs, and I think I very much put ourselves in that bracket, yes, you can have a successful season with league position. Ultimately, that's what you want to aim for. But I think success can be measured in much other ways. And with Lopetegui, there's far more things I'm looking for rather than just where do we end up at the end of May. So my point was, when we didn't have European football under Moyes, we had a bloody good season because we took advantage of not having European football, and there's always one or two big clubs struggle. There's always one or two that top 6. I seen a statistic the other day, like I think once in the last 7 years, maybe I'm butchering this here. Once in the last 7 years have the top 6 been the top 6, the big 6, the Sky Sports big 6 have been the top 6 of the Premier League at the end of the season. Something like once in 7 years. It probably won't happen next season because of Aston Villa and Newcastle. But we could become one of those as well if we get everything right. And it starts with pre-season. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, first friendly, Monday, 3 PM kickoff. We are live on this channel at 2:30. So if you're kicking around, please come and join us for the watch along at 2:30. We'll be live for half an hour, interacting with the live chat, getting your thoughts, seeing what the starting 11 is, talking about certain players who are going to be involved. Then we'll be doing the watch along as usual. So 2:30 Monday, we'll see you then. But tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, 9 AM, as always, I am live for a chit chat with you all. It'll be about the transfer window, what you're hoping to see, get your opinions on John Duran. So do come join me at 9 AM tomorrow morning if you're kicking around. Anyway, there you go. For someone I had nothing to talk about, but 21 minutes. Right, apologies. I thought it was maybe 14 or something. Apologies. There's my thoughts on pre-season. I'm looking forward to it. I like a starter. If you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it. Subscribe to Ham's Chat. I'll catch you tomorrow at 9 AM.